Howdy guys, what's up? My name's Sarah, and today you're watching me draw the background for the Ninetail Fox champion. If you notice, I did renovate her outfit a little bit, just because I don't know, thought I'd change it up. It looks a little bit better when it's less revealing in my opinion, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I guess. And I know the clientele of Riot Games is mostly like 16-year-old boys who enjoy super boobs. No, I'll just draw normal boobs this time. Essentially, I have blocked out the colors so far using a brush I created based solely on the round brush tool. So you see all that texture, but it's really not. It's all made by the presets on the brush, not the actual brush itself, which is kind of interesting. What you see there is that I scattered it and made it a lot flatter than it usually is, and used the rotation of the brush kind of to get that blocky. And you'll see that it's an oval, not a circle. And as you see me fill in the moon a little bit, it does take a long time, because I was surprised by how long that took, just by those brush strokes. I think it's a complex brush, and the more things you put on a brush, it slows it down a lot, so keep that in mind if you're using a slower computer, because that's kind of tough. You see me use white instead of, well actually it's kind of a blue light kind of situation, as opposed to that yellow I started with, just to mix it up a little bit, because I do want the shadow cast by the moon, or the light emitted by the moon, to be a bluer hue, and it wouldn't look as convincing without that in there. Here's where you see me make a cloud brush, because I got frustrated by trying to make a cloud with the other brush I made. So usually when I show these, I don't do that. I usually like pause the video while I'm doing that, but thought I'd leave that in because it took like 0 time. It's a lot of trial and error to get the brush you want to look good. You saw me blur it, and now I'm using a purple to model up the sky a little bit. That way it's not as just bam, gray everywhere. You kind of have some more diversity to it. And you see me kind of shading the clouds a little bit. I'm trying to be mindful of where the moon is based on clouds, and shading appropriately. I'm also not going to trying to avoid having repetitious kind of patterns in the sky, which is tough. It's tough pretending to be random. It really is. And you see me put in the foreground and background charred trees. So I think the theme I want to go for with this is kind of like ashy and kind of haunted a little bit. I don't know, I think it goes with the character a little bit, and she kind of reminds me of a I used to play Ragnarok like no other. Oh, here's where you see me save the actual brush with the presets that I worked on before. Anyway, but yeah, I played a lot of Ragnarok like back in the day, and I absolutely loved it. And there was a Ninetail Fox champion. Well, they didn't call them champions; they called them bosses, monsters, whatever they were. But yeah, so that was fun. She looks a lot different though. I think League of Legends tried to take a different kind of take on it. Definitely not a Naruto take, if anyone wants to say that. I wouldn't agree with that. Just because it's mainstream doesn't mean that it automatically inspires everything. You see me kind of go for a dark brown, kind of ashy hair color, not necessarily that jet black hair color. And if you see, that's kind of a blue off-white instead of a regular white, because regular white is really hard to shade, and I wanted to save that for the tails, because they are the defining feature of the champion, not really the outfit that I ascribed to her. And here's where you see me try different things with the flame ring around her. I don't know how I feel about blue fire on her, because she really needs that orange kind of inner composition. Sorry. And so I try to do a I don't know, a mix between blue and orange, but it didn't pan out too well, so you see me scrap it and just go straight for orange. This is where I start blocking in the actual colors. I start with her eyes because those are my favorite, and that's really what changes the piece for me, seeing her eyes get done. So it really helps me motivate me to finish the... I kind of go from a top-down kind of thing. You see me put in the smoky eyeshadow and the shading on the eyes, just so they don't stick out like a sore thumb, like, oh man, the eyes are perfect, the eyes are perfectly envisioned. Well, they're not really, they kind of have a shadow cast on them. So, you see me start to use my circle brush again without the heavy, soft filter on it, so I get that by hitting Shift and one of the close bracket keys, and that kind of tightens up the pixels around it and gives me more opportunity to blend personally, not trust the soft blender that comes by using the opacity built in. So you see me try to shade one side of the face with a I guess warmer color and the other side's remaining cool. That's because there is the secondary lighting source, which is the fire ring on one side and the moon on the other. So as you see, the secondary light source is kind of wrapping around her face, so it's really important for me to get that in there. I try to put makeup on her because I feel like that's a detail that sometimes goes amiss in these kind of things, but it really changes the personality of her, I think. Here's where you see me try to tighten up the hair a little bit. I'm just kind of putting shading on before I merge all my layers, just to block out if the colors work together, because I don't want to commit to anything without making sure that I really like how it's going to turn out. And here's me deciding that yes, I like these colors, I can clean up the edges, and I trust myself to not destroy the image, which is something that happens sometimes when you merge layers too soon, is when you're erasing things or making big changes, it really does affect everything else. So you want to make sure you're happy with all your colors before you merge the layers, so that way when you do inevitably want to change colors, it's just a button click away as opposed to manually doing it. Whew, that's a lot of talking. You see me try to fix up her hair. This is the shadow cast by the moon through her sleeve onto her arm. That was a lot of prepositions. Essentially I want that to be a grayer kind of shadow than a orange one, but you see me kind of lighten up with the orange anyway, because I think it was a little bit too dark. You'll notice that she is backlit as of me doing this corset, and that's important because I did choose a main means of light, and that is the moon behind her. And I might fix up her arm or her shoulder a little bit just to really emphasize it, but for right now I think the corset's doing the job just fine. We'll see in later phases, I guess. You'll see me just add a few highlights based on the Ring of Fire, but nothing like dramatic. For the most part I want to keep that keep her shaded purple to kind of go with the sky. Not really want to shade her black or anything like that. It's tough to get the shadows so they don't look awkward. And here's where you see me commit to that color, that dark trim color. And oh, here's where you watch me mess up drawing the knees. Now the knees are tough to do because they're far away from the fire up at the top, which I really want to shade them with, but they're kind of in the shadow. They have to be darker than the face is, but they can't be orange darker, they have to be gray darker. So color theory. Alright, so this is almost at the end of it. I'll explain more about red shading later because I tried in a different take to explain red and it just went to hell in a handbasket. So I'll try to finish this piece up by the end of this week, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Alright, thanks, have a nice day. Bye guys.